Hello guys, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 14, which I'm not sure of how many years we've gotten to Vlogmas Day 14, but it's probably quite a few less than Ara and I would like. But I am very excited today because my new tripod came in, and that means I'm going to be filming my DIY garland today. Now it's right there. I've done most of it so that you guys can kind of see what it'll look like at the end. But I'm going to make one of the parts anyways. I don't need to explain it to you because you guys are going to see it. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 14. We'll start by showing you guys kind of what we're making. So it's a bit of a DIY like holly garland situation. I saw it at Canadian Tire. Maybe a little bit longer than what I have right here, but I'm pretty sure it was like 40 bucks at Canadian Tire. And I was like, I can make that. And honestly, I'm very proud at how it turned out. It looks so good. So what we're gonna do is we're kind of missing one on this end. We are going to make one more that goes right here, and we're gonna make it together. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is make paper holly pieces so you can cut it out of foam. I do not have measurements for this. I did not buy the actual piece at Canadian Tire, so I just kind of eyeballed it, and I kind of like that they were all a little bit different, and you're gonna see how they turned out a little bit different as we go through this. But I have a reference picture of it in my hand, and then I just kind of built my little guides kind of on that reference, and you can do the same thing. They're basically like, the first one's got a fairly not like inorganic, very rectangular sharp corners type of situation, and the second one just has a little bit more curves to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place those down, and we're going to get our felt out. So I have a darker piece of felt for the bigger piece, and I have a lighter piece of green, obviously green felt. We're gonna start with the dark green one. We'll just cut it up. And it doesn't need to be exact. I have found that this kind of DIY garland is actually quite forgiving in the exactness of it, which is nice, because when you're DIYing something, sometimes you do feel a little bit disappointed with what it comes out as afterwards. But I actually was quite happy with this one. I'll bring it up a little bit higher so you can kind of see, but I'm just going around the guide, not perfectly, just kind of trying to get the general shape fixed. We're gonna clean it up a little bit after we've cut it out. And sometimes you do move it around a little bit, so just make sure you put it back into the correct position afterwards. So that is our piece of felt, and the only, small thing I want to share, don't know if you guys can notice it, but there's a little piece right where I was putting my finger that I'm just gonna shave down a little bit. There we go, and it's looking a little bit better. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna put that to the side. I really like that. And now we're going to do this one. There we go. Okay, and so one thing that I noticed after I created my guides is that the second one was way too big. That's okay. I found out, afterwards. I was a little bit freaked out at the beginning, but it's perfectly fine. What I do is I lay them on top of each other so I can see the general shape of the large green one, and I just kind of shave down. So you only want, a little bit of the green to come through, like about that much of a border. And so I'm just gonna cut around until I get that much of border, maybe make the curves a little bit more curvy. Such a great word to describe this, Emily. But yeah, we're just gonna cut around, and there we go. So we're seeing that shape a little bit better. Oh, you guys are not seeing that shape a little bit better, but I am. See, and I kind of made a little bit of a mistake there. Look, that doesn't look very much like holly. We'll fix that. There we go. Like that, that's pretty good. Okay, so now that we have this down, the next step, we're gonna get rid of these flags because we don't need them anymore. So I have the second one here because we connect two of them together. And so the second one, you can see, has already been sewn together. So we're going to do that really quickly. I'm just gonna put all my trash to the side there. And so I have a needle threaded with some green thread already. I ended up having two different shades of green, but you don't notice them once they're on. I ended up using two different shades. I don't even know if you can see them, but I can. So honestly, the shade of green thread that you use, it doesn't matter that much. Speaking from experience here. So the first thing that you're going to do is, you can do this many ways. You can do this however you want to sew it, but this is how I've been doing it. So in order to get the first knot going, I stick it through. I stuck it through and I'm gonna stick it back under, and then I'm gonna flip it, and I'm going to pull until that second bit of string, that first little bit, pops up right there. You can kind of see it right here. And I'm gonna put the needle down, and I'm just gonna tie like 3 quick knots. Okay, maybe not quick, but 3 knots for sure, around this. Again, you could do it any way you want. I've just found that this is what worked for me when I was making like 24 of these. So there we go. And then you're going to just nick the extra string on that one because we don't need it. There we go. So now what we're going to do is, I'm pretty sure this is called a back stitch. I do not embroider things. I do not sew things by hand. But what we're going to do is we're going to come up from the bottom a little bit further away from where we last sewed. Let me just bring y'all down a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. So there we go. So this is where we last sewed something. So we are gonna come up, there we go, a little bit further away from it, pull it through, and then we're actually going to, oh, if I can find my needle, we're gonna sew right in where that last hole was. And then it creates, a continuous line. Now, is it a straight continuous line? Probably not. I can't see it very well. That's my bad. But we're just gonna keep doing that. There we go. Coming up a second time. Coming down. And we continue that line there. And we're just gonna continue that for the entire piece of holly that we have. So to tie the knot, you're gonna flip it over, and I like to use one of the stitches I have in the back. So I loop the needle through that, and then I create a knot using my needle there. So we're gonna cut that off. I'm not a professional DIYer, so sorry if that wasn't too great of an explanation. So there we go. We have our 2 pieces of holly, and we're gonna move on to the next step now. The next step is to create like a candy cane yarn effect with a red and a white. Now this gets a little bit complicated, so we're gonna have to change our setup just a little bit here. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna create, or you're gonna want to cut 2 pieces of yarn, one red and one white, about this length. What is that? Basically, you know, if you hold your fingers like that, just a little bit longer than that. We're gonna weigh it down with some sort of paperweight. And I'm gonna show you the actions on how you're going to do this. But in order to make a twirly stick, you can't just go, you know, twirl, because we'll do that. I'll show you what happens when you just twirl them around, even when you do it super tight and you twirl and you twirl and you twirl. So even, you know, that's, I don't know if you guys can see how tight that is, but it's pretty tight. Even when you do that, like, it's not sticking together. Like, it basically immediately unrolled at the top and the bottom. So that's not what we're going to do, because we want something that's going to stick. Okay guys, we're gonna try this from a different angle. I'm hoping it works better for you guys. So what you have to do to make something like stay twisted is you need to twirl your yarn in the other direction from what you're turning it. So I'm going to move my yarn over top, which means it's going to end up twirling in a counterclockwise direction. So I need to twist my yarn, twist it in a clockwise direction. And the opposite, it's a little bit complicated. So twist, hand over. Twist with your fingers, trade hands. Twist, trade. Twist, trade. Twist, trade. Let's see if I can get you guys an even better look. So we're twisting the yarn or passing it over. Twist the yarn, passing it over. Twist the yarn, pass it over. Twist the yarn, pass it over. The next step is to glue all of our pieces together. So we are going to start with our base here. I'm hoping that this warmed up long enough. You can decide what you want your tips as, because that's what's going to show. And I think I want these as my tips. And you want like a big V. So you can decide, really. You're the crafter here. I'm gonna go for about this deep. And you just need a little bead just to, you know, glue them together at some point. It's felt. So any amount of glue, you only need a little bit of it and you'll be fine. So that is done. Now, the next step is glue in your candy cane string. So we're gonna glue it about there. So we're gonna add a dollop, another dollop. There we go, thank you. Glue gun. You're going to lose finger in your feeling in your fingers. I'm also going real quick because my glue gun does not reach where I'm sitting. So it's going to stop being hot. Stop gonna be gluing a while. So big dollop right on the top of that, so you can just put down the first of the little holly berries right there. And then you're going to put 2 more holly berries to form a bit of a little V, little holly berry bunch right there, and to cover a little bit more of the string. Press down firmly. You only need it for a few seconds. And then, whew, look at that. We are all done. I like to kind of fluff up the berries a little bit, but let this sit for a little bit. The next step would be creating like 20 more of these. That's the next step. After that, you can either find a nice thick piece of string. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be green. You could do white, red. You can do anything. You could do a combination. I used green yarn. You can see the little pieces of yarn that I used. I cut up 6 pieces. Only 5 are showing there, which is kind of concerning. Wonder where the other one went. But I definitely used 6. Maybe I didn't. Hey, okay, well, I lost piece of yarn between here from one end to the other. Started off with 6 and I braided it. I'm not going to show you guys that because if you don't know how to braid, I've already shown you one complicated thing to do with yarn, okay? Showed you how to do that. That's all you get today. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you attach it. This is a little confusing. I mean, you could just, you know, just slide it through an end and that would be fine, totally fine. You don't even need to put this on garland. This is an adorable ornament. Like, I have like 5 extra that I'm just gonna hang on my tree. But how I've done it is I've put the loop on the bottom here and then I've pushed the holly pieces through that loop. That's why we kind of needed it a little bit large. Okay, and then it looks like that, and then you just pull, push them together, you pull, and then you can easily move them around too, as long as you don't pull them too tight. So I think this one's gonna go probably very close to the end there. I'm gonna move it just a little bit there. There we go. So now you have probably only one of these, but I have so many of them. Like, so many. It just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. And they are adorable. So this is what it looks like as garland. I think I'm gonna keep it there. It looks really cute. And then I put 2 on my Christmas tree. So I have one right here and one right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's Vlogmas. I can't believe we made it to day 14. That's incredible. Very shocking. But as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in 2 days.